All right, welcome to everyone joining us via Facebook. I know there's a few of you who are joining us also through our YouTube channel. So hello to you. We're going to give this a couple more minutes for everyone jumping into our Zoom room to come in. But we can begin to enter into our practice today. Just closing our eyes and taking this moment, this minute or two, to deeply relax. I started us this week, if you remember, talking about fear. And meditation being a tool, really, for us to be able to watch whatever emotion is arising, including fear, without getting caught, without being pulled into the sensation, the emotions that are attached to fear, for example, but really any emotion. Meditation allowing us, as we stand as witnesses, to create a little bit of, I would say, spaciousness between whatever emotion is arising and the awareing of that emotion. That in moments of greater mindfulness, of being a little more lucid, we are able not to collapse into fear. In fact, we can, when we are, let's say, well practiced, enter into a kind of dialogue as the fear arising, an inner dialogue that would be something like, I see you. Fear is here. Fear is arising. Yet I don't have to engage that fear. I don't have to get involved with that fear. It's not a denial of the fear. I hope you can hear that. It's very different. It's in fact the opposite of denial. It's an acknowledging of the fear's presence. And a lot of fear are surrounding us from the most mundane fear, anxiety, or anxiousness, sometimes for little things, to the biggest fear of them all, the fear of death. I remember being on the edge of death in the hours of my heart attack. And a lot of people came to me, and obviously after I survived, and as I was sharing my story, they asked me or said, thought that I must have been in a lot of fear. And the truth is, I wasn't. In the moment of our imminent dying, when we are able to finally let go of control, when we realize that life happens really without us, that all that we thought we had control over is but an illusion. In that moment of absolute surrender, on the threshold, there is no fear. None. Nothing. There is a kind of beauty, a peace that is rarely experienced because of surrendering any illusion of control. My life was in the hands of the surgeon, and there was not a lot of time left. And so I let go. And it was absolutely okay. I can't express that through words, how peaceful and okay that moment is. And then I realized days later, after having come home, that there was no fear because there was no story. The fear of members of my family that was very present for them was because of all the stories they were living with of what would happen if. But if we let go of all of the stories, then we let go of fear. It might sound paradoxical, but in fact, it is my lived experience. So if you are with fear, when fear arises, and like I said, when we practice creating that little separation, and we can watch fear present, but without collapsing in it. Can we use that moment? Sometimes it's very fleeting, but if we have just a few seconds of mindfulness, of presence, of saying, I see you and I don't want to collapse into you, can we in that moment say to ourselves, what is the story attached to that fear? That anxiety, that moment of stress, that panic, What is the story behind that fear? And again, I'm not talking about the fight or flight, reptilian brain, natural reaction. That's okay. But I'm talking about all the other fears, the fears of the mind, the fears of ego. In the moment of our transitioning, there is no fear. Just like there is no fear when we fall asleep at night. And there is no fear to be had because we are just waves on a vast ocean. Leaves on the tree of life. But as waves, we think of ourselves as separate from the other waves. We even live under the delusion that we're separate from the ocean itself. But we are the ocean. Each of us on our little wavy way. Each of us journeying towards the shore. And at the end of our journey, when we surrender the shape of our wave, there is nowhere else to go but continue to be the ocean we have always been. That ocean that will manifest itself yet again as a different wave. The fear only exists because the wave thinks itself separate from everything. And so it sees the shore approaching and it is panicking because it forgot that it's always and will ever only be the ocean. Where do we go after we die? There's nowhere to go. We're already here. We are the ocean. It is the delusion of separation that keeps us from knowing our ocean nature. It is the mind, the fearful mind, that sees separation. All of us have experienced loss, friends, family members. But what we lose is just a container. The shape of a wave. No one can ever be lost from the ocean from which they spring. A leaf falls off the tree in the fall because the sap merges back and goes down back into the trunk, into the tree. Our essence is never other than the tree of life. Another leaf will arise on the branch in the spring. There is nothing to fear. We are loved. We are always supported, always embraced, never cut off, never lost. So be the most gorgeous wave you can be on your journey to the shore. Be a fearless wave. And practice. Today, practice if emotions arise, let them arise. Dialogue with them. Just like your thought, just like with your sensations, but with emotions, dialogue with them. See what stories lie beneath those emotions. Enter into this practice with peace and leave this practice with peace. And we gently let go. Gently let go of the observer, of the witness. Gently transition into a different state of consciousness. Taking perhaps a couple of deep breaths. And if we feel the need to do so, stretching the body. I want to perhaps dedicate this meditation to all those we might know who are nearing the end of their journey as a wave. All those we remember who have completed their journey and have already merged back into the ocean. That they all may know the peace and the loving embrace that is our birthright, our inheritance. Our destiny. May we all be free from fear as we all continue on our personal journey. May we find wholeness. May we find harmony. May we know the abiding peace within. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi, for sharing such an your experiences with us. It was amazing. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, everybody.
Leonie, I had the same experience in 2016. Told me I was going to die.
Oh my.
And I felt very serene about the thing.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for another beautiful meditation. Shabbat Shalom.